All right, this is lesson 75, area of a complex figure and area of a trapezoid. Okay, so a complex figure is something wonky that looks like this. And for our first example, it's asking us to find the area. There's not going to be a specific formula that works for this because there's two shapes put together. And you could probably see that there is a rectangle hiding out with a triangle here, right? Oh, that's cool. Okay. So I'm going to need to divide these up to solve this problem. So now I have a rectangle with a triangle. So I know that this side is 10. So if I've used 4 up here, this has to be 6. And let's see, if I'm down here is 16. And I've used 7 right here. So 16 minus 7 is going to give me 9. So obviously this is not drawn to scale. Okay, then to find my area of a rectangle is just base times height, so 7 times 10, which gives me 70. And then I need to find the area of my triangle and add that with this as well. So area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So my base, I'm going to change color so you can see this. My base is 9, and my height right here is 6. I'm going to divide this by 2. 9 times 6 is 54. Divided by 2 is 27. So this part here is 27, and this part is 70. So if I'm finding the area of the whole thing, I'm going to want to add these two together. So 70 plus 27 gives me 97. And in the book it tells me I'm using millimeters, so it's going to be millimeters squared because it's the area. Right, so for example 2, I once again have a wonky figure, what they would call a complex figure. It reminds me a little bit of the state of Georgia, which I'll have to ask Sage, my southern gentleman, if he agrees with that. So I'm going to have to again divide this up, and the book shows you multiple ways to do this, so I drew little complex shapes to help you figure out which way you want to do it. So the first way is I could divide it into 3 pieces like that and find the area of 1, 2, and 3 and add them up. I could also divide it in 3 pieces this way and then find the area of 1, 2, and 3 and add them up. Or you could be lazy like me. Oh, stop that. What is this? Stop that. Go away. Oh, goodness. Okay. And you could add onto it and then subtract this part right here. Okay, so I'm just going to make it into one big thing, one big rectangle, and then subtract the part that I added. So to make this bigger, or I'm going to put on this part right here. So I need to find out the length of this part that I added. So I have 10 down here and 6 down here. So that means 10 would be the full way. 10 minus 6, I'm left with 4. And then this part right here, the length has to be 7 because I have 10 on this side and I've already used up 3. So then I need to find the area of this whole new piece that I created right here. So to find the area of a triangle like the one I created, I'm going to do 7 times 4, my base and my height, divided by 2, which gives me 28 divided by 2, which gives me 14. So this is 14. So that's a piece I added though. So I'm going to take the whole area of my rectangle I created and then subtract it out. So the whole thing would be my base times my height, which gives me 100. 100 minus 14, because I added that 14 section, would give me 86. The book says I'm in centimeters, and I use a square because I'm using area. Of course, you could also do this way or that way. I just figured that this way was a little easier in my mind, but you're welcome to do it any way you want. If you do either of these two ways, make sure that you are adding and you're not subtracting. You're just adding all three pieces. Okay, for our next example, we're going to be talking about the area of a trapezoid. So to do that, we need to remember what a trapezoid actually is. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral, which means it has 4 sides, and it has at least 2 parallel sides. In this case, it's my 2 bases right here. Okay, so these are parallel. This guy and that guy are not parallel, just my top and my bottom. And that's what makes it a trapezoid. So when I'm trying to figure out a formula for a trapezoid, it's a little complicated. I can't do a parallelogram because that would be my base times my height. The problem is I have 2 bases that are 2 different lengths, so I can't do that one. And if I do my area of my triangle, well, I have a triangle here and a triangle there, but I didn't do that part, so I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is something that combines both of these. So this is a base, and this is a base, and this part right here is my height. We're going to consider this a side, and we really don't need that measurement. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to average my 2 bases. So base 1, we're going to say this is base 1, and this is base 2. So to average, I add them up and divide by 2. And I'm going to multiply the whole thing by height. So base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 over height. You could also say this is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 equals height. I would pause right here and I would write down this wonderful equation so you remember it, because you're going to need it the rest of the lesson. So area of a trapezoid equals the average of base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. Okay, so then it says find the area of this trapezoid. So I'm just writing it a trap, like area of trapezoid. Okay, I'm abbreviating here. So find the area of my trapezoid. I'm going to use that awesome equation that I just found, which is area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times my height. So I'm going to say, it doesn't matter which base I add first, so I'm going to say area equals 7, so I did that part, plus base 2, 10. I'm going to find the average of these two, divided by 2, times my height, which is my 6. So I have, let's see, 17 over 2 times 6. 17 over 2 is, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this instead. Oh, that is much better. Okay, so then I have to just multiply 17 times 3. Instead of simplifying later, 7 times 3 is 21. 1 times 3 is 3. 51. So the area of this trapezoid is 51 centimeters squared. All right, example 4. Ask us to estimate the area of this trapezoid. Okay, first of all, be careful because yes, this is in fact a trapezoid. I have two parallel sides. We usually think of a trapezoid as looking like this, but sometimes a trapezoid can look like that because that's parallel to that. So, yep, these are both trapezoids. So I'm going to be using my trapezoid formula, which is base 1 plus base 2, divided by 2, in parentheses, times my height. There's an important word, though, I need to pay attention to, which is estimate. I'm going to be changing my numbers. I'm going to round, so I'm not worried about the decimals, or in this case, the inches. So if I'm estimating, 5 feet and 11 inches is really close to 6 feet. 7 feet and 2 inches is close to 7 feet. 10 feet and 1 inch, well, that's really close to 10 feet. Okay, so now I'm going to use my formula here. And I'm going to do a different color. Ooh, let's do blue. Okay. Base 1 is going to be 10. There's my base 1. Plus base 2, 6. Divide them both by 2 to average it. And then times my height, which is 7. Okay, 10 plus 6 is 16. Divided by 2. Multiply the whole thing by 7. Alright, so that's going to give me 16 times 7, which is no. 42, let's see. 42, 1, 7, and 12. Okay. And divide that by 2. Gives me 5, 10, 12, 56. Is that right? Oh, please be right. Yay! It is right. Okay, I don't know. It's like 11:30 at night. All right, 56 feet squared is going to be my area of my trapezoid. And again, that is an estimation. Okay, so you are going to do your practice set next. And on your practice set, go ahead and skip letter E. Letter E is not something you need to worry about, so go ahead and do A through D and stop before letter E. All right, so practice set. So when I'm doing finding the area of one of these shapes, I have to decide if it's a complex shape or a trapezoid. And we said a trapezoid has 4 sides, and it has 2 of them that are parallel. This has 1, hello, come on, pen, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is not a trapezoid, so I can't use that trapezoid formula. I'm going to have to divide him up. So this to me looks like a logical place to divide him up. And then I just need to break it into my rectangle and my triangle and find my measurements. So I'm going to change my color. Okay, so the whole thing is 12, but this piece is 8 because this part down here is 8. And that means that this has to be 4. Again, not to scale. And then I need to find the height right here, right? So we said if this is 10 and this part is 6, 10 minus 6 is 4. So then I'm going to find the area of my rectangle and add it to the area of my triangle. So 8 on this side and 10 on that side gives me an area of 80. And then my formula for my triangle is base times height divided by 2. My base is 4. My height is 4. Divide that by 2. Should give me 8. So that would be an area of 8. I like to circle inside to remind myself what I'm doing. So then 80 plus 8, add up my rectangle and my triangle, and that's going to give me 88, and this is in centimeters according to the book, so 88 centimeters squared. All right. Letter B. Okay, so on this one, I have 4 sides, and 2 of them, this one and that one, are parallel, so I can use the trapezoid formula and don't have to do as much work. Hooray! So look back at your trapezoid formula, and it should be area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times height. So base 1 we're going to say is 19 plus base 2 is 10 divided by 2. And my height is this part right here times 12. So 29 divided by 2 times 12. Let's go ahead and simplify. Oops, 6. That's a 1. 29 times 6, according to Miss Ballard's nifty calculator, is 174 centimeters squared. All right, I have another trapezoid. Hooray! Because I have 4 sides and I have 2 that are parallel, this side and that side. Using my area formula of a trapezoid, I have area is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times my height. You see why I said to write it down. Okay, so base 1 is 12, base 2 is 20, divide these both by 2, and multiply by my height, which is 15. So it's going to give me 32 over 2 times 15 over 1. Let's see. 32 divided by 2 is going to be 16, right? Times 15, because 15 over 1 is the same thing as 15. 16 times 15 is 240 centimeters squared. And that is my area of my trapezoid. All right, if you don't know the answer to letter D, because this is D, not E. D comes after C, Miss Ballard. B1 plus B2 over 2 times height. That's the formula we've been using the whole time, so make sure you know how to do that. Area of trapezoid